Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight. My name is Eric Casella. I'm running for Supervisor District 9. I want to thank SFOP, Grace Lutheran Ministries for hosting us today, and of course the Portola Steering Committee. It was really great to be here last Sunday at the street fair. We had a really great time talking with many people during the day. And it just really brought back a lot of memories. Actually, one of the first jobs I got in District 9 when I started working was at E.R. Taylor School. At the time, I got really familiar with the neighborhood back then. Since then, I've been coming back along the corridor to eat at the great restaurants. Also, it's really great that most people might not know this unless you're a soccer fan, but it is actually Silver Avenue is the offices of the Northern California Soccer Association for all the leagues in Northern California. That's a great thing to be proud of having here in the neighborhood. But more importantly, I think in terms of working with District 10 and Supervisor Maxwell, I have a long-standing relationship with Supervisor Maxwell dating back to working on her campaign to get her elected, because we saw her as someone who was going to be open to working with different neighborhoods and working with our neighborhood in particular. So I've had a long-term relationship with Supervisor Maxwell, and know I could work with her very well in the next 2 years as she's still in place. But beyond that, also working with grassroots organizations and faith-based organizations like SFOP, who also have members in the Bayview and in District 10, but also in Portola. There are organizations that have been doing the work there for many years. And David is correct. We have to have a relationship with the community-based leaders and those who are doing the work, and those who I've been working with for many years, particularly on the Eastern Neighborhood plans, to understand their issues, and so we don't have the type of issues that we had when both of our neighborhoods were conflicted around the Home Depot. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Casada.
I just want to tell you.
Okay, so you know who I am now. Because at the fair they weren't there, so I was going to go into the whole spiel. And thank you all for being here as well. You're missing an incredible debate on the other end, I guess, with Governor Palin and Senator Biden right now duking it out to see who's the best vice presidential candidate. Well, I think it seems to be obvious in my time out here in Portola that this is a neglected part of the city for quite some time, and the fact that the district is split into two parts is not helping. And I think redistricting, when it comes about again, needs to really look at reunification, so to speak, to make sure that folks are one whole community so they can work together in a meaningful manner on an ongoing basis. And I think that it's unfortunate that the redistricting that happened in the past split this neighborhood in two. The neglect seems to come in many forms. If you go to McLaren Park, you can see the dilapidation, whether it's the barbecue pits or the benches themselves, or the playground areas that don't have play structures. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, and whoever's the supervisor of this District 9 needs to partner a lot with Supervisor Maxwell at the beginning, whoever takes her place after her term, to make sure that McLaren Park and a lot of the Portola, I keep hearing different ways of saying it. Portola? Get an argument going. But I think that I have a long-standing relationship with Sophie Maxwell, starting from when I helped rename Portola Middle School after her mother, Enola Maxwell. We worked hand-in-hand on a lot of issues, and I know that I can work really well with her to make sure that the needs are met out here. And I look forward to working with whoever the new supervisor is for District 10 as well.
What specific actions will you take to improve the quality of life in our neighborhood? This time we're going to start with Mr. Quesada.
Well, the first thing I would do is definitely work with the existing organizations that are here today operating and build on their strengths. I think that the neighborhood is really on the precipice of really some great things. You have a neighborhood serving corridor that is really one that reflects the diversity and the working class nature of this neighborhood, and that's something really beautiful. I know there's a lot of issues in terms of the need to attract new businesses and wanting to maybe have a cafe or more cafes and that sort of thing, but I think there's a real strength in the corridor, and I think it's something I would want to build on. It's something that I would want to work with the steering committee and with the local initiatives corporation that's been working for many years now in terms of looking at what is needed in terms of improving the quality of life here in the Portland. I think that the fact that there's going to be a new health center being built on the corridor, that is a tremendous achievement for the neighborhood to have a health clinic, a neighborhood-serving health clinic right there on San Bruno. I think that's a great achievement. But clearly there's a lot of needs that need to be met. One of them is the conditions in McLaren Park has been alluded to already. We've talked to several neighbors who are very much wanting attention to the park. This is a long-standing issue for more than 20 years. This has been an issue here in San Francisco. Prop A a few years ago was passed in terms of a bond for open space, and it was great that we got resources into the neighborhood, but McLaren Park was left off of that list, and I think we now have to really find ways of improving that. But mostly I think for me as a supervisor, that as a community organizer background, is I want to listen to the community and organize, use my office to really organize the community to come up with the main issues in terms of what their quality of life issues are, so that we can work on them collectively and not have a lot of different asks and not having priorities. I want to work to organize the community's priorities and then work to implement them, and that way we can hold the office accountable.